What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's the Field Level Football Podcast of the West Coast. I'm Pat. That's CT. That's Quan. What's going on, my guys, tonight, man? What's going on, CT? What's going on, Quan?
All right. What's going on, y'all? I'm chilling, man. Trying to make sure my seat is right. Shout out to the wifey, man, for making sure my lighting is good. You know, showing my chocolate face. I'm feeling good. Got my water here, man. I had my sea moss a little earlier, so I'm in a good spot right now. How y'all feeling?
Quan, go, bro. Can we hear Quan? Let me see. Say something. Can't hear you, Quan. Rob, what's good with you, fam? Where's my link? We'll get you on we'll get you on in a little while, Ed.
Ooh, impatient. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Feel some hostility.
Sadi starts to show fast. Free Eric Bieniemy. Man, it's tough. It's tough. It's hard out here for a pimp.
Honestly, I think he dodged the bullet. We can get into that. I don't got you yet, Q. He dodged it.
I don't got you. Yeah, he possibly has, man. He possibly has. I'm excited for tonight's show, man. As y'all know, man, we ain't been on since last Wednesday. It's been a minute. I'm looking rough. I'm tired. I'm hurt. Quan, I don't know what's going on with you, bro. Let me see. Mute you. Unmute. Let me see. Edit mic. Quan, go ahead on and what I want you to do, Q, is just try to log out and log back in. I'm gonna kick you from the studio and then hit it again. Thank you. Hello, thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. It's been a crazy day, man. It's been a crazy week. We getting ready to get into it tonight. You know, I'm tired, bro. I had text y'all earlier. Y'all like, hey, the Field Level on late tonight. Yeah, we are. I'm gonna tell you why. Pat was knocked out, and I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Pat was knocked out. They done lift this order, bro. They done lift this order in the city, and we back at work. So today was my first. It's been a minute, man, bro. Has it been a minute? Yeah, for sure. But now they lifted that order, so now the city is back to work, and I went back to work today, and I am tired, bro. But it's the Field Level. Football Podcast of the West Coast. So we're gonna jump in tonight, man. Wanted to kind of go through though, honestly, since we weren't able to do it on Sunday night, I wanted to hop back on and then kind of go through the games of that happened on Sunday, the AFC Championship, NFC Championship. I want to kind of start with a recap of the AFC Championship, where the Bills took on the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City won that game 38-24. Stat line, Pat Mahomes 29-38, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen 28-48 for 287, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Also added 88 yards in a run game in that. I'm having a hard time, bro. Like, I don't know what's been going on with my picks lately. I had Bills. I had Buffalo just simply because I felt like Buffalo coming into this game was rolling. They were hot. I felt like throughout the season, Kansas City faltered some here and there. They didn't look, I've said this all season. They did not look extremely overly impressive to me throughout the year. I felt as though they were very beatable. I felt as though that they had some I guess, for lack of a better term, kinks in their armor, where there were some things that I felt like Buffalo could do that could put them in a position to win that game. I think one thing that I did underestimate was Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce, I've underestimated him all year. I think what happens for me personally, and I'm going to just be transparent and real. So all I can do is be transparent and real. I think because of the comparisons, like who's the best? George Kittle, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Travis Kelce. I think because I'm so heavy on the George Kittle side of that argument, that sometimes, even unbeknownst to myself, I'll discredit and take away from the greatness that Travis Kelce possesses, just simply because I'm so heavy on the George Kittle side of that argument. But Travis Kelce has proved week in and week out. He's just a matchup nightmare. He's a matchup nightmare. He's a guy that there is an issue. Travis Kelce is not better than George Kittle. Let's not start that, Chris. We're talking, but see what I'm saying though, CT. That's what happens. Somebody will come in like Chris did. They'll come in and say something dumb, and be like, Travis Kelce is better than George Kittle. Let me hear you, Quan, say something.
Yo.
There we go. All right, yeah, you good. You good. We got you.
And my bad, because it was saying that my microphone, Safari was messing with my microphone. It popped up with a weird message. So I turned the whole phone off, turned it back on. So
there we go. So we're talking right now. We're recapping that Buffalo and Kansas City game, and I was saying to myself, Quan, and I'll reiterate it. I said I got to give Travis Kelce his credit in that game, but I said the reason why I don't give Travis Kelce as much credit as I think I should. Transparent moment. I think because of the argument between George Kittle and Travis Kelce being the best tight end, I'm so heavy Kittle that I kind of take away from Travis Kelce's greatness. And in me doing that, I have to stop doing that, right? But in the middle of me saying that, here comes Chris and says Travis Kelce is better. I highly, highly disagree with that comment. Travis Kelce is a great tight end. But I think what we miss is, and this is a lot of people, what we miss is that for some odd reason, we go and we look at the tight end position as if it's a wide receiver. And that's all it encompasses is catching the ball and route running. And that is not the truth. That is not the be-all, end-all. It's not just route running and catching the ball. It is, in fact, pass blocking. It is, in fact, run blocking. And because the discrepancy between the two, as it pertains to Travis Kelce and George Kittle, the discrepancy comes in the blocking, where Travis Kelce cannot hold George Kittle's jockstrap when it comes to the blocking. And I think because that discrepancy is so big, that is what pushes George Kittle over the top of being a better tight end than Travis Kelce. My personal opinion. Yeah. But, Quan, I'll let you hop on then, CT.
About the game or George Kittle topic?
About the game, or kind of you can tap into the topic that I'm talking about, but you could also kind of go with the game.
I'll go with the game. I'll leave the George Kittle banter for the Niner residents, as in you two. The game, man, you just see why. This is why I picked the Chiefs, because remember we talked about it. When Patrick Mahomes is healthy, I need to see it to believe it. It's not that I didn't think the Bills had the firepower necessarily to beat them, but because he's only lost one game in 2 years, well, they lost two, but he didn't really play against the Chargers because of the health, they had the bye week or whatever. He's only lost one game in 2 years, bro. I need to see it to believe it. And like we said, or like I said, when it comes down to it, do you trust the Bills' weapons more than you trust the Chiefs' weapons? I told y'all my answer was no. And you see why. And you see one of the main problems that they talked about post-game was what was the game plan against the Chiefs? Like, who are you going to double? If you double Tyreek, which we understand, Kelce might go off. If you double Kelce, I understand, Hill going to go off. It's like, pick your poison. And I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't have a stat game, but he had a presence game. The fact that when he touched the ball, you had to at least respect it enough. That just holds Poyer and Micah Hyde enough to where you can't double anybody on that team. If you don't have the matchups, like to go for them blow for blow, player for player personnel, then it's going to be hard to stop them. And like Unc Sharp says all the time on Undisputed, if Patrick Mahomes is on point, you're not beating him. You have to hope he has an off game or your D lineman eat him up. Other than that, you're not beating him. And that's what we kind of saw. Josh Allen's interception doesn't really mean that much to me because he was going blow for blow as much as he could. It's just so the Chiefs have too much firepower, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. CT, how'd you feel about it?
The game, or you want me to talk about this Kelce Kittle?
You can touch whatever you want to touch because I think it's a good topic. It's a good subject to talk about.
I appreciate you saying that. So since you said that, I'm gonna jump into this Kelsey.
Hey, and thank you, Sadi, for pointing that out. By the way,
facts.
Yeah.
Let me ask my two brothers here, Pat, Quan. Is Chris? Wasn't he a tight end in high school?
Chris did play tight
here
end.
we go. Here we go.
Chris did play tight end.
Here we go.
Okay, all right. Now you got me interested. Go ahead.
And what was his skill set? What type of tight end was he?
He was for sure a receiving tight end. For sure.
We're not doing it.
For sure.
I would, and you know what? It's funny. I've only seen him play maybe a handful of times. I would expect a receiving tight end to make a comment as such.
Okay.
In college, I played, actually in high school and college, I played with a George Kittle type, maybe not the same speed, but a good blocker, somebody who was a receiving threat. In college, I played with a more finesse Travis Kelce type.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer, and my man, his name is Dan Ryan. We played at Sacred Heart together. He was my tight end. I prefer that type because you can do so much more. He opened the run game up for myself. You know, he was a passing threat. I prefer that over the finesse. Even though the finesse was nice, we were much more potent as an offense because of that. And, you know, what it comes down to is, yes, I am a Niner guy. Kittle has blessed us with great play, with everything that he does, the leadership and all that's all he provides. Kelsey's special. You know, he's a great player.
For sure.
You know, honestly, lose 20 pounds. He's a great receiver. I think he just has that capability as an athlete. But I will say, you know, look at the body of work. He's done it longer than Kittle, so I can understand that argument. But I also want to say, look at all the little things that Kittle does that puts him into the upper echelon of one of the best tight ends to do it, especially at this time, you know, in the league. Moving forward, you know, that game was almost what I expected, to be honest with you. I like Buffalo. I just think they're young. And, you know, when you get to this point in the year, especially in the playoffs, you get into the storytelling. And what I mean by that is you have the young team who's ascending, who's coming up, who has the young quarterback or has certain young pieces. They're finally starting to figure things out and learn how to win, but it's not their time yet. And I felt that was the story that embodied what Buffalo was going through. And I felt like that's what, you know, ended their story, the youth and just, you know, playing with potentially a generational quarterback as we look. And with Mahomes, they did more than enough to win. Tyreek is heating up again, which is something that we need to discuss as they work towards the Super Bowl. And offensively, man, they're starting to get some things together. What's his name? Hardman? Hardman's nice, bro. The more and more they get him involved, is going to be a problem for teams. Running the ball, I thought Hilaire was effective, so I was happy to see that.
Right.
I want to see how they get him a little bit more involved. Still need a little bit more ground and pound, but Williams is a pretty decent back, filling in for that. Kelsey's special, obviously, and I think he'll continue to be a threat. It'd be interesting to see what Levante David and who's their other linebacker?
Devin White.
Devin White. It'd be interesting to see how they match up with him and how they scheme to kind of get him going. And defensively, you know, I got to be honest. When the game counts the most, I have seen Kansas City's defensive stars step up. Tyrann Mathieu was all over the field making plays. I saw him, you know, bull rush a few times and really make it challenging for, you know, that offense that the Bills have. Also, my auntie's on here. That's what's up. Auntie Shug, shout out. And then you got, you know, Chris Jones, you know, who got paid and had a great, you know, postseason last year, was disruptive and continued to do so in that game as well. So, you know, their stars and the people that they need to show up have been showing up as of late at the right time. So that makes them that much tougher to beat.
Hey, yo, real quick, I want to make a statement about the Kittle thing real quick, because I seen Chris type and say the best ability is availability. I'm assuming he's, you know, talking about George Kittle being injured,
right?
More than Kelsey. You have to also factor this in. Your style of play can also factor in the way you get injured. And when you watch Kelsey play, do you guys remember a long time ago I used to say Kelsey reminds me a lot of like Marvin Harrison. When he catches the ball, he tends to like
Goes
go down
down.
easy because he don't want to get like Kittle is trying to get extra yards, and that hurts you in because he's so physical. You get DBs dragging on your ankles. You get those kind of injuries. So you have to look at their style of play as while they're always available. Let me just throw that out there. That little
let me before we do, let me say one thing. Could Kelsey have won that San Francisco New Orleans game the way Kittle did for the Niners?
No.
There you go.
Oh no, he wouldn't have had that. He dragged two people for like 20 yards.
Exactly.
No, he wouldn't have did that. I do want to point out though, and I want to kind of talk to you guys because you guys I'll talk to week in and week out about these things, and I think you guys kind of know where I stand on things. Quick question, see if anybody gets it right. What have I been harping on as far as what will hold Buffalo back in the playoffs?
The run game.
Bang. The run game. Yep. And I think we finally saw it catch up to Buffalo this week in the AFC Championship. Devin Singletary, 6 carries, 17 yards.
It's not going to get it
done. TJ Yeldon, 3 carries, 15 yards.
Made some plays.
But moment. That's not really making play. I mean,
no. In the receiving game. In the receiving game.
Out of the backfield in the receiving game for sure. Yeah. But when you run the ball collectively with your running backs for 32 yards, 32 yards with your running backs in the AFC Championship, I don't care who you are. I've been talking about this week in and week out as it pertains to Buffalo. That is going to hinder you. That is going to get you into a place where you're going to be behind and you're not going to be able to sustain drives. You're not going to be able to milk clock. This was a game that Buffalo was leading 9-0 at the end of the first.
Right.
But if you cannot run the ball and tick on the clock and run the clock down, you'll catch yourself being outscored in the second quarter, 21-3.
Hey, because the Chiefs be spotting people. The Chiefs be spotting people, bro.
If they spot people or if they don't, if let's just say if Devin Singletary was able to put up 70 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That could have been the difference in the game. Why? Because that then becomes a sustained drive where you're ticking that clock down. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to say that could have won them the game. I'm simply going to say it could have played a difference. And I think one thing that we look at, Stephon Diggs, 6 catches for 77. Sounds good. But then you look at what he's been doing all year. It becomes mediocre. The Kansas City secondary played extremely well. They did what they were supposed to do. When you're able to hold, Stephon Diggs is 77. Cole Beasley put out 88. But for what the numbers that they had been producing, that's a win. Stephon Diggs been putting up almost 150 a game.
Yeah.
He's been doing well. So I think that the Kansas City defense did what they were supposed to do. Along with, I'll give it to you, Darrell Williams. I'm looking at the Williams on the back. I'm like, yo, they had a Williams kid last year that was dogging. He sits out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes down. Le'Veon Bell, ship him off somewhere else. He's not playing well. But then here comes Darrell Williams out of nowhere, and over the last 2 games, he's been putting up points. He's been putting up yards, doing what he's supposed to do. So I think Kansas City is doing very, very well for himself. And I also have to point this fact out. Patrick Mahomes sacked 1 time.
Yeah, hey, but you know what? Patrick Mahomes was sacked once, but he could have been sacked 4 or 5 times. But the fact that he's mobile enough to get out of harm's way, because there was a couple times where as soon as he threw it, he got hit. So you hold it a half a second more, it's a sack. So you got to give Patrick Mahomes a lot of credit too, because it wasn't just like he had Fort Knox with his line. He got two tackles ended up going down.
Yeah, and I have to say this though, man. But what's crazy was if you look at the stat line, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill beat the Buffalo Bills by themselves. I know. I know we talk. I know. CT. I know you mentioned Hardman. Yeah, 4 yards on 2 catches. This was a Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill show.
I think he ran
a jet sweep or something like that.
He had one. Yeah, he had one rush. He had one carry for 50 yards. Yeah, that was a good run. But that was that game, man. you know, here we go, Kansas City going on to the Super Bowl once again, and now going over NFC Championship. They'll be taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, so I'll start this off. Oh man, Tom Brady, 20 of 36, 280, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think this is similar to Kelsey. My goat all of my life had been Joe Montana, right? So here comes this GOAT talk about Tom Brady, right? So the Joe Montana enthusiast in me has to then defend his GOAT status by saying Tom, there's no way Tom can be the GOAT because that's a spot allotted to Joe Montana. So with that being said, I've always been hypercritical of Tom Brady. This game was very, very interesting to me. I think for the first time this season, what I saw was Aaron Rodgers literally forcing the ball so much to Davante Adams that he was missing people wide open. There's one play in particular that very sticks out to me like a sore thumb. The throw to Davante Adams in the back of the end zone where he caught the ball out of bounds, where it was a touchdown drive and he caught the ball out of bounds. That same exact play, Allen Lazard comes wide open on a quick slant across the middle for a touchdown. But he's so locked onto Davante, he doesn't see Lazard. Mm-hmm. This game was very – because that is what the tell of this game was for me. Aaron Rodgers forcing the ball to Davante and missing guys. This game should have been a lot different for me. Mm-hmm. But it also was a game similar to Buffalo where Green Bay just couldn't run the ball. Couldn't get the run game going. Aaron Jones had 27 yards. Jamal Williams had 23. And A.J. Dillon had 17, totaling 67 yards out of all 3 backs from Green Bay. Leonard Fournette put up 55 yards, but this is where I have the issue. And y'all kind of this is a show where we invite confrontation. This is a show where I invite you to yell at me. I invite you to say something dumb. I invite me to say something dumb and you try to come at me. The issue that I have with Tom Brady enthusiasts is that after the game, Quan, after the game, CT, the post on social media was, this is why Tom Brady's the GOAT.
I'm glad you said that because when I go, oh man, yeah. This is why Tom Brady's the GOAT. Yeah.
He threw 3 picks. Yeah. This is why 3 of them, and this is why Tom Brady's the GOAT. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, let's not paint this picture that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the Super Bowl because of Tom Brady. Tom Brady has helped them. Tom Brady has played well down the stretch. He's done enough to get them to the Super Bowl.
For sure.
Tampa Bay is in the Super Bowl because of that defense. That defense has been playing lights out. Devin White, lights out. Those boys, lights out. The reason why I said that, I can't say they're in the Super Bowl because of Tom Brady when he threw 3 picks.
Yeah, I don't think this is too much, man. It's too much to deep dive in because you can't. Okay, all the players that are on that defense minus Antoine Winfield were there last year. I'm just saying, though.
It's true, but the thing is, we can't like the thing about it. We can't say all they were all there. Yes, they were all there, and I'm not and let me say this again. I am not discrediting Tom Brady, but I'm not going to paint the narrative that they're they're in the Super Bowl because of Tom Brady. No, I can't say that because had that been, let's say like this, had that been, Jimmy Garoppolo threw 3 picks in the NFC Championship game, Josh Allen threw 3 picks, and they would be getting beat up right now for throwing 3 picks.
That's true. That is absolutely
true. Because it's Tom Brady,
he can do no
this
wrong.
Is why he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey.
I'm not being biased, and you're being biased. How am I being biased because I'm saying he threw 3 picks?
Hey, check this out. if I know Ed is watching, if we go and look, and I picked I picked the Bucks to win, but we got to call a spade a spade. If we're going off the numbers, Aaron Rodgers outplayed Tom Brady. If we're going by the numbers,
sure.
The problem is Tom Brady's team. This is why it's a team sport. The team, including Tom Brady, played better than the team of the Green Bay Packers. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers singled out. Aaron Rodgers outplayed them. But Aaron Rodgers they got 5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. No one touched Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. They got 1. But I know for a fact, Shaq Barrett had 3 sacks, JPP had 2, and let's not even count all the pressure that he had. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers' D-line did not put that heat on Tom Brady like that. So that goes into the team column. Then we could talk about the drops. There was a drop on the 2-point conversion that St. Brown had. There was another drop by Lazard. There was another drop by Adams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That goes in the team category. Let's not also talk about Aaron Jones, who had 2 critical, one of the fumbles they got back, but that's a psyche thing. We all play football. A big hit like that causes a fumble, that's a psyche thing. Then he gets hit on another one, and he actually coughs it up, and Devin White takes it all the way down to the 8-yard line. That is a team thing. That is nothing to do with Brady. So we have to make sure that we call a spade a spade. Brady took this team over the hump to getting into position to get to the bowl. But if we're talking about this game only, the team, the Bucks, beat the Packers. Tom Brady did not outplay Aaron Rodgers. That's a fact.
Should we allow Ed a chance to talk or no?
I mean,
let me do mine real quick because I already know it's
I'm gonna let you do yours for sure. I'm just asking a question.
Let me get mine out the way. Yeah, it's a tough conversation, man. I will not discount what Tom Brady has done over his career, but let's not act like he hasn't had any support, man. He's always had a defense in New England. He didn't have the weapons all the time. I do understand that. He's loaded with weapons right now, and he's taking advantage of it. But to be up 8-3, to be up 18 points, and to throw 3 picks in the second half, or was it second half? I want to say. Well, through the course of the game, he threw 3 picks.
Second.
That's horrible. You pretty much put your team in a situation to lose.
Right.
And let's be honest, he's had his good games and his bad games, but he's not the one that's going to make the difference to get them, over Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. Patrick Mahomes was 1 bad defensive snap away from beating Brady not too long ago, right? 2 years ago. So I don't think it's going to come down to those two because Patrick Mahomes will outplay Tom Brady. There's no doubt about it. And I think Sadi brought it up earlier. Shout out to you. Spagnuolo is a heck of a defensive coordinator. And if anybody knows Brady, it's him. So that's something to watch out for. But, I'll say Tom is solid. And I think that if he does get this win, then I'll give him the GOAT tag. He's won more than anybody. He's been there more than anybody. He's won more than anybody. I don't love it. I don't love it, but I'll be honest about it and give him his respect, for that.
I think it goes to a situation, and I see you say there. I think it goes to a situation where it's an era thing, right? You want the LeBron James, Michael Jordan conversation, right? But I'm okay with him being the GOAT of this era. I'm not okay with him being the GOAT all time because Tom Brady did not have to deal with basically no pass interference, basically no roughing the passer. Like he didn't have to deal with some of the things that Joe Montana had to deal with in the game of football. There wasn't no 5-yard chuck rule. Wasn't no sit back there and be comfortable and not get blasted off your spot. So for this era, yeah, Tom Brady's the GOAT for this era. I'm not gonna say all the time.
But if he wins it, you're gonna have to give it up, bro. Because
I ain't gotta give him nothing. I ain't gotta give up nothing.
You don't have to.
I ain't gotta give up nothing. Go ahead.
Look,
here we go.
I just had to give me one real quick.
Are you serious?
you know.
This man been a Patriot fan forever. Now, go ahead.
Nah, I just have to talk shit. No, for real. Hey, so the game, right? Let's talk about the game. Can I talk about the game?
Yes, you can.
So all y'all play football, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So the picks that Tom threw. Mind you, before he threw the picks, he was on his way to a 400-yard game. He had threw 202 in the first half. They was up 18 before he threw the 3 picks, Pat.
Y'all ready for the excuses? Let's get this. Come on.
No. All of the picks that he threw, they were all on third downs, and they were all targeting who? Mike Evans. So essentially, if they don't get the third down,
don't do that. Don't do it.
No. Even if they're all considered punts.
Broke
my mic. That deep in the end zone, it's the same thing as a punt. They just show up on the stat line.
Are you serious? Did you come on the field level and say that?
Yes, I did. And then, Pat, what's this notion that Tom Brady can't beat Patrick Mahomes? He's already beating that same defense he's beat with New England. Do you know Kansas City, up until this year, before this year, the previous 2 years, 4 teams has had lead on them. The only team that was able to pull it off to execute the game plan that Quan was talking about, running the ball, once you get a lead, milk the clock. Only one quarterback with one offense was able to execute that. Who was it? Tom Brady. It was New England. 14 at the AFC Championship game, they was able to beat Kansas City in Kansas City. So this notion that they can't be beat, or as CT said, that he don't think that Tom can outdo Patrick Mahomes, and he's already done it. This notion that he can't beat him head to head, he's beat him already 2-1.
So how?
I'm sorry, Ed. Ed, I'm
D4 jumped off sides.
But that's part of the game, though.
He threw a pick. He threw a pick. Had D4 not hopped off sides, he was throwing a pick, and the game would have been over.
Ed, you don't get to say that's part of the. You don't get to say
part of the game that he would have lost for the Patriots.
It's a part of the game.
You don't get to say that, Ed. You can't say that's part of the game. Can you hear me, y'all?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool.
I'm reading his lips, though. I know what he's saying.
You can't get to say that's part of the game when you just came on the field level and said that basically they can hear me. You can't, CT. I don't know why you can't. They can hear me.
You know what?
I don't know why.
You're right about a lot of things, man. I didn't have to eat some crow, and I'll be real with you, but I got to tell you, bro.
This man. Ed, tell CT everybody can hear me.
All I said was the 3 picks was equivalent to punts. You pin them deep. They chuck balls.
You can't say that, Ed. You can't say that.
Why not?
Because it's a pick still. It's still a pick. But at the end of the day, it's a pick. It's a pick, Ed.
It didn't change the game.
That's why I can't get with y'all Tom Brady enthusiasts because y'all come in and y'all say stuff like that.
I didn't say he played perfect.
You just told me that 3 of his picks was punts.
I said they're equivalent to punts. They were all inside the 10.
All right. Hold on. The last pick he threw to Mike Evans, if you want to talk about it was equivalent, that I ain't gonna argue that because to me it just sounds it sounds bogus. But
they're down 7, Quan.
But bro, if you look at the pick and if you look at the pick, for one, he threw that pick because he was scared of getting hit.
Yeah,
let's talk about that. And
the linebacker and the running back didn't pick up the blitz. Okay.
It's everybody's fault.
Okay.
It's everybody's fault. It's everybody's fault. But
hold on, but listen. I can also say if you're gonna say it's the equivalent of a punt because of how deep he threw the pick, we can also say, Tom, just take the sack then. Just fall down and get touched because then you're gonna punt anyway.
Why would he get hit like that?
He ain't gonna get hit. He gonna go to his knees and get touched like he always do. Come on, man.
Nah. Boy, that boy was coming in hot. Hey,
I can't get with you on the picks, man. Them was horrible picks.
Y'all been wrong all year.
I picked the Bucks to win with you.
Who been wrong all year?
Who been wrong?
It depends on what we're talking about. I've been right about a whole lot of stuff.
CT, stop. You stop. You let it go. You just stop. Pat.
When it comes to Brady, you're right. But anything else, I've been solid, bro.
Pat said they wasn't even gonna make the playoffs.
I did say that.
Super Bowl.
I did say that. And did they almost not make the playoffs?
A lot of stuff had to happen for that to
What
happen.
Did they almost not? Hold on, everybody quiet. Did they almost not make the playoffs, Ed?
What's almost not making the playoffs?
One game away from not making the playoffs.
Absolutely not, Pat. They was 11-5.
Get them off. Get them off the show.
They would have been number 7 regardless. Who would have jumped them? Who would have jumped them? Arizona was only 8-8.
That is true. He got a point.
They was gonna make the playoffs regardless, Pat.
I'm saying they were one game away. If they were one game away. Let me. Pat, I gotta go to my stat line.
Pat, they would have had to have lost 2 games, almost 3 games, not to make the playoffs. They still would have had a better record than Arizona, Chicago, and the Bears.
Don't trip. I got you.
Hold on. While Pat does research, here's the question. Will you at least say this? I picked the Bucks to win, but I'm not going to be all over like this. Exactly. So me and you was right on that. But will you admit this?
I picked them the week before too.
Was Tom Brady the main reason they won against the Packers?
That's all I want to know.
No.
That's all.
Okay. No. That's all I'm saying, Edward. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't say he was.
But Edward, that's what I'm saying, Edward.
No, but Pat, your reasoning of not wanting to relinquish top titles because you're a Niner fan is ridiculous. Like you don't want to.
You're a Brady fan. That's why you're holding on to it. It's each his own. I just came out here. You know what I just said, Edward? Did you listen? Edward, did you listen? Did you listen to what I said? Edward, what I just said is Tom Brady is the GOAT of this era.
Of any era. Okay, so y'all can say the same thing about LeBron, right?
Yes.
So how do you feel about LeBron and MJ?
Well, see, okay. Hold on.
I almost kicked him out the studio, y'all.
So the argument, hold on, I got it. So the argument for LeBron and MJ, right? You go to 6 championships, you win 6 MVPs, and you're undefeated, right?
Okay.
Joe was undefeated 4 for 4, right?
Okay.
Never threw a pick.
LeBron has been to 9, 10 finals now. He got 4 rings. Brady, what does he got? He got 6 right now?
He got 6.
He got 6. 10. And this is his 10th, right? Yep. So, yes, he's been to more. But if you want to have that argument, you have to think about the times, right? Has Brady ever had Lawrence Taylor in his face? Has LeBron ever had to deal with those Utah Jazz?
Are you kidding me?
Shaq and Penny, all these different, like, I'm telling you, the times have changed to the benefit of a LeBron, of a Tom Brady. That's what changes a lot. Think about their divisions. AFC East. Has the Patriots ever really had any competition other than that 1 year with Rex Ryan and Sanchez?
Wait. It doesn't matter about the you still had to go through Peyton Manning. He still had to go through Big Ben. He still had to go through all-time greats to get where he was at. That's number 1.
Right.
Number 2. Wait. No, Number 2. He went to a whole new conference at 43. He has just as many NFC championships as Drew Brees and A-Rod in his first year. He did it with no preseason, no offseason, and a pandemic. You got to give him credit for that. How many other 43-year-old quarterbacks can do that? That's
none of them.
Number 3. Oh, I can keep going. Number 4. Every quarterback, including
none. I just said none.
Wait a minute. I believe Joe Montana went to Kansas City and got to the AFC Championship game after spending his whole career with the Niners. And what happened to them? They lost. Tom's the only quarterback over the age of 40 to switch teams and go to the Super Bowl. Not Peyton Manning, not Brett Favre, not Joe, not nobody. He's the only.
Oh, you said over the age of 40. I was about to say Peyton Manning.
Joe ran into
it took Peyton Manning 4 years.
On this argument,
I'm not saying he isn't special, man. I'm not saying that at all. But I gotta.
He a bum since the season started. CT, be quiet.
On this argument,
I don't think he's gonna last, bro.
On this one.
I do not think he's gonna last. I don't think that it's going to come down to him.
I don't think CT can hear us. So
when the money was on the line, there was a point in time where Tom Brady was able to do that.
Every time we try to say
it's not like that no more. It's not.
Okay, my whole thing is y'all picked the Saints, right? Because Saints top now. Drew Brees, he didn't hit the wall.
Okay. Ed, before you say that point, can you understand why somebody would pick the Saints in that moment?
Yeah, no, the world picked the Saints.
But so you can understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, now go.
No, okay, but he was able to do not offense, defense. He still had to execute what he had to execute against one of the best defenses, top to bottom. Maybe the best defense, top to bottom, that was left in the playoffs. Because top to bottom, that Saints defense is better than the Bucks. It was better than the Rams. It's better than Kansas City. Yet top to bottom, safeties, linebackers, defensive line, the Saints they can do it all.
Okay.
They literally can do it all. The
Okay,
Rams got the bigger names, but the Saints have been doing it all year.
And Tom, but I'm saying you bring that up, Ed, but Tom Brady threw for 199. Let's not come on.
So Tom Brady threw for 250 and 3 TDs in the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes threw for 350 in the Super Bowl. What you talking about 100 yards? What that mean?
But that's what I'm talking. But that's my main focus right there, Ed. It's
to win the game. It's to win
no,
the game.
But let me.
Right?
I want to say that my main focus is this. After all of those instances, what happens is people like you get on social media and make comments like, "This is why Tom Brady's the GOAT." The dude just threw for 199.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. So I always call a spade, as people say. I never got on the internet and said, "Oh, this was this was that." I knew the second half, Tom Brady, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. The pass to Mike Evans that popped off his hands, the one nigga that flew into the sidelines, when he was throwing into double coverage everywhere, I was like, okay, this nigga just must believe this is the 1985 Bears, that A-Rod just ain't gonna go do nothing. So I don't know why he threw those. He had people wide open. I don't know if it was just maybe a confidence thing. Let's keep just giving him 50-50 balls. He gonna come down with him. Because Mike had dropped 2. He had dropped 2 that could have turned into really, honestly, that would have gave them at least another 6 points. So, all right. So, Pat, all I'm saying is this. You have to take into account what he did. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks couldn't have done.
I'm not taking nothing away from him. Nothing.
And he went to get to the playoff, to get to the Super Bowl. His role was tougher. This year,
man. Yeah. Okay, his role was only tougher because him and his team did not handle their business earlier.
Now that's true, but they handled their business when it mattered. They handled their business when it mattered.
They did, but this is why, Pat, I agree with Ed, and then I'm going to get off to Brady and we can talk about something else. This is why I'm on Ed's side when it comes to if he wins this bowl, he might be the GOAT now, but he'll be the undisputed GOAT if he wins another one because y'all talk about Joe went undefeated and all of that, but the fact is you got to look at the performances that he has when he's in. The only Super Bowl that I knock on him is the one against the Rams because he really didn't do nothing. But other than that, he's about to have 7 rings. Joe played for I don't know how many years. How come he didn't get to 7? He only went to 4. Like we can have this argument, and then CT. Hold on. And then CT, you know, I know he can't hear me, but then Pat, you could jump in. Then y'all bring it. Oh well, did he have to play against the Lawrence Taylors? Did he have to? He played against the Von Millers.
Look,
we
can keep going.
Look, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna move on.
Hey,
wait
a minute. And y'all talking about people are saying Aaron Donald is supposed to be one of the all-time greats on the D line. He's played against Aaron Donald.
He is. Listen.
Okay, so this, but y'all just said Lawrence Taylor.
All right. No, I got you. I respect it. I respect it. We're gonna jump over to something else. Taylor, thank you for coming on, bro. We're gonna get you out of here. But let me tell y'all
next Sunday, baby.
Man, hey, dude is funny, man. Dude is definitely funny. CT, can you hear us now? I don't know what happened with CT and why he can't hear something. Yeah, and I think Roy said it best. The reason why a lot of those Super Bowls back then, Quan, was the Cowboys, the Buffalo Bills, all those people. There was a lot of great teams back then. I wanted to try to touch on something before we go. I want to kind of touch on something just before we get ready to move over into our prediction segment. It comes out today. Houston Texans has hired the Ravens assistant head coach and the director of the passing game coordinator, I should say, as their next head coach. Does this keep Deshaun Watson happy in Houston?
No, I don't, man. A report came out that he said, now I don't know if this is true or not, but I read something that said even if they hire Eric Bieniemy now, he's still out. It's already too late. The writing's on the wall. And we talk about, look, I don't know, what's his name? Cully.
Dan Cully.
Dan, whatever his name is, Cully. I'm sure he's qualified to some degree. You got to be qualified to even get an interview. So I'm not trying to knock him on that end. But if I'm just looking at his titles and his resume, he was a wide receivers coach at one point. He was the Ravens offensive passing game coordinator. So I don't even know what to think of that because
it's a slap in the face. If Ravens don't pass the ball, man.
if Greg Roman is this also goes against the Lamar Jackson problem I had because the whole thing is, he don't got no weapons. He don't got no weapons. So then why would you hire the guy who's supposed to be the passing game guy over there and you bring him to Houston? Like, to me, that's a horrible move because I'm sure this passing game coordinator has at least a 5% say so in draftable guys who they're bringing into the game, like something along those lines. So if we're going to complain about Lamar having no weapons, and we already know the Ravens don't throw the ball with good consistency, why would you hire that man as your coach? Now, he has had players come out and say that he's a respectable guy and players are vouching for him, but I expect every player to do that unless he's an asshole, excuse my language. So this to me is not the right hire, honestly. Just to me. Now it might work out. Who knows? If you keep Deshaun, you'll always have a fighter's chance. But I just don't see this. And then to add injury to insult, and I'll pass over to Pat or CT, whoever want to go. Add injury to insult. As soon as it comes out, Ian Rappaport comes out and says the Ravens have just received 2 third compensatory picks because they hired a minority. I'm just like, man, this is horrible.
CT on you, bro.
Yeah, this is ugly, man. But I'm going to disagree. I think it was the right hire, and this is why. Eric Bieniemy, that is a messy situation for you to walk into. I think we all on this panel would like to see him in a good, advantageous situation. We all know that there's going to be another carousel of coaches that will be fired next season. So get your ring, keep building your resume this season. Let's get rid of all that naysayer negativity that's been out there, reports and different things like that. If interviewing is a problem and they keep pointing that out, let's find a way that they can't deny you anymore, and give yourself another year to kind of develop and find the right situation. I don't think even with Deshaun Watson disgruntled, and maybe he does stay, but going through all that mess because there are individuals in that organization who people don't like, I don't think you put yourself in that situation. You don't have a first or second round pick. You don't have any cap. You're going to have to make some extremely tough decisions. I think that your best bet is to be away from that situation. So I'm actually happy for him, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Not the only suspect hire that we've seen. Philadelphia was interesting as well. It's just it's not his time, man. And we know some of the reasons why, but I just think that this is what's best for him. And he was smart to not even trip off of it. So we'll see.
No doubt about it, man. I think that this was a tragedy. For it truly was. And I invite the fact for me to eat my words later on down the line. I'm hoping that might be the case. But at the end of the day, it shows you what's going on in Houston, man. Like what are they thinking? Like, what are they doing? Like, it seems as though this team or this franchise just doesn't want to win. Like they're so against. Bill O'Brien was your coach and general manager.
So to be honest, Rick Smith was there. He did have some dysfunction with there. He had a tragic family situation with his wife, and he ended up stepping down. And that kind of was a way that was a way for Bill O'Brien to kind of take over as such. But they did have that structure originally.
But they had it for years like that. Like if that was the case, like you know what I mean, fix it. You know,
yeah.
It's not working. Fix it.
And you still don't got to give it to Bill.
Right. I agree.
And let's just be honest. They drafted Deshaun Watson. Name another draft pick.
JJ Watt. Other than that,
before Deshaun.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying. Even after that,
Zach
Deshaun
Cunningham.
Watson, boy,
yeah,
he cool. But like, come on, man. Like,
but I feel what you're saying.
2 draft picks over the course of how many years that you can literally name and say that is an elite player.
Will Fuller.
No, he's not elite, but he
ain't elite.
But that's what I'm saying. That speaks to the organization as a whole. You can't have literally 2 players in the last 15 years that we can talk about.
Lose both of them. They might lose both of them
because how long is the Texans? The Texans been around now. What? How many? About 15 years.
2002. Yeah.
So over 15 years. So over the course of the time they've been in existence, I can name J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson, and
Andre Johnson.
And Andre Johnson. I'll give you that 3. Bang, right? But I'm a Niner, so I'll go to the Niners. In that same 15-year time frame, I can name, Nick Bosa.
Countless.
I can even Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, Alden
Kaepernick.
Smith when he was Cap, Alex Smith. Like I can name
Kittle,
a lot of individuals. Kittle, like you name so many players, but I can legit name 3. That speaks to the organization as a whole. That organization is upset. Like they're bad. Even with New York Jets, I'll go, DeBrickashaw Ferguson. I'll go Quinnen Williams. I'll go, the other left tackle, Mekhi Becton. I can name a couple guys with the Jets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like this is pretty bad. This is really bad. And I think that, if they gotta let this shit go.
I got one. Amobi Okoye.
I'm not naming him.
I remember
21-year-old, remember?
And he flamed out real quick.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that at this point in time that organization needs a lot of help. They got to figure this thing out. And the best thing for Deshaun Watson to do now is get out of there. Don't go back. Don't say, okay, we'll see how it works out. Don't go and say, okay, I'll give it a try this year and see what happens. Get out of there now, because too many times we've seen talented players sit in a place that was not good for them. I felt like even though, now I'll throw it out there like this, even though Cincinnati has some success down the line, I mean, Chad Johnson should have got out of there. Like Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, as great as he is, Matthew Stafford, and I think me and you had this conversation earlier, Quan, if he had not been in Detroit and been somewhere like the Rams or, like Arizona even, who knows what Matthew Stafford's career could have looked like.
He could stay in his own division and just go to Minnesota.
Who knows? But it's situations where you have people that are very talented that stay there way too long. This boy Sadi just put Brian Cushing in
and he was nice, but he had too many.
He had a couple of years.
Hey,
terrible. I'll give him Clowney. They did draft Hopkins and they did draft Clowney. I'll give y'all that 5. I'll give y'all 5. But Donta Robinson, I'm not giving you that. And I'm not giving you Jonathan Joseph. I don't like that.
No. Hey, do you guys think? I also think this is a nice move. The Texans are trying to hire Josh McCown, the quarterback, to possibly be on the staff as maybe the quarterback's coach. I think if they do that, that's the only way Deshaun stays, because there's so much learning he can get from him. Even though he was a journeyman, everyone knows how knowledgeable he is. I think that might be a key piece to try to get him. But I agree with you, though, Pat. If I'm Deshaun, it don't matter. I'm trying to get out.
Gotta get out of there now. You gotta get out of there now.
I'm just saying.
And how funny is it that Josh McCown was a candidate for the head coaching job at Philly? That was just terrible. Anyway, moving forward, I wanted to get you guys' opinion, right? 2 things. One, how do you feel about the Niners re-signing Jeff Wilson Jr. back for a 1-year deal, which is interesting. And then the second part of that is Matthew Stafford has now publicly become available. What is his value? Is it the first overall pick? I mean, the number 12 pick in this year's draft. Is it an assortment of different picks throughout the draft and not the number one pick for the Niners. What is his value? Shoot it. CT, I'll start with you with the Jeff Wilson Jr.
I love the Jeff Wilson Jr. signing. Hefe has been a great player. I think he deserves an opportunity to compete in training camp for the starting position with Mostert. He has proven again and again that he is pound for pound probably the most talented running back on the team overall and what he can do. He's a good blocker. He can catch out of the backfield, and he runs hard. He runs with passion, with anger. He needs to stay healthy, find a way to do so, but I believe he's one of those backs. I was similar in the same sense as you give me enough reps, you give me more opportunity, and my body builds a callus, and I'm able to continue to sustain that level of play. And I believe that that's what he can do if he's given that opportunity. To play sparingly, sometimes it doesn't work well with their body chemistry. So you got to give him, ample time to really develop and get some reps as a starter. And I think that between him and Mostert, it'll be really interesting to see in camp, even though I know Mostert's the preliminary starter. And then switching over with Stafford value, I mean, this guy's been throwing 4,000 yards pretty much every single season, has underachieved with a lot of the weapons that he's had and lack thereof, should I say, most recently. But I think it's time for him to move on. I'm glad that he took that step and said, I want to finish my career and really give myself an opportunity to seek elsewhere, a la what Carson Palmer tried to do, right? So I look at this as maybe a mid to late first round pick. Feel better if it was a second, third, or fourth type of situation, or a multitude of after first round picks. So I think that he'll be in play for that depending on the team. I was on the phone with Quan earlier, and one point that I wanted to bring up is look out for Washington football team. Martin Mayhew, who was the general manager and one of the player personnel directors in Detroit, was one of the individuals who partake in drafting Stafford and may be interested in bringing him into Washington. So that's just something to look out for.
So my question, my question to you though is this. This is my question. Will you give the 12th overall pick for Matthew Stafford?
I would. I think he's worth it.
It all depends on how things line up, man. Like, it's very hard for me to answer that question because I'd have to see Jimmy gone already. You know what I mean? I need to see how other things line up. If you
I'm sure that you have to accompany, like you have to couple Jimmy with whatever trade you're sending because you have to offload that contract. So you have to couple Jimmy to Detroit, and we all know Jimmy has a no trade clause. I'm sure it's ways around that, but you would have to couple Jimmy with whatever it is that's going out to Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in making that move if you can somehow get a signing. I know we don't really do signing trades like that, but if you can give me Galladay too, I'll take that.
You know what? If you guys can get Jimmy off and send him as well, you might be able to get a second round pick instead of a first. But the question was, is he worth, or would you trade the first? I would, because I think he's worth the trade. If we're talking about the individual here. The individual, Matt Stafford, can make all the throws on the field. He's mobile. He's mobile enough to where Kyle Shanahan's offense could just get that much more dynamic. We've seen what Kyle Shanahan did when he had a prototypical passer in Matt Ryan and where that took him. I think Matt Stafford could take you guys to the distance. And like I told CT on the phone, if you get Matt Stafford in the NFC West, he's already the second best quarterback, and it's debatable with Russell Wilson already.
I hear you. I think my issue is this, and I think that Ed put forth a good one for me, is that if you send in Jimmy, I think Jimmy in a second is enough for Matthew Stafford. That's just my personal opinion. Jimmy in a second. My issue with Matthew Stafford is this. The reason why I'm not willing to give the 12th overall pick is for this reason, right? Over the last, what we got, 11 years as a pro, it's only been he's never thrown under 10 picks in a season, right? I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not great. I just think that because it is a level of turnover, it would have to be a second. It wouldn't be a 12 for me. It wouldn't be number 12 overall. It would have to be a second round pick coupled with Jimmy to get him. And if that is the case, and I saw something else that was kind of interesting today. that said, Dallas might be willing to let Dak walk. And if you can get Dak, without giving up nothing.
Right.
Except for, maybe offloading Jimmy's contract and trading him for maybe a fourth or a fifth, which I think you can get for him. You can get a fourth for Jimmy, maybe a third even, if you really push the narrative.
Is Dak that much more better than Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just asking the question. I wasn't trying to make it hard. I'm just asking the
better
question.
Thrower of the football, a more vocal leader, which I think the team might need. Jimmy's cool, calm, and collected, but he's not the front face guy. Dak will get in front and feels comfortable that way. And I think that might be something that's a difference.
Yeah. So I would do it personally. So that's just my personal opinion. I think that would happen. As far as Jeff Wilson Jr., I think that me personally, I feel like, and I told you guys this early in the offseason, that I was hearing out of camp, he was the players felt like he was the number one running back on the team. And when the players feel like that, then certain things start to happen that get you in a position to prove that. He got into the position to prove it and proved it. I think personally, Raheem Mostert is amazing, electrifying, big play waiting to happen. But CT, this is just as good as I do. When you talk about, similar to what I was talking about Travis Kelce and George Kittle, when you talk about the running back position, it encompasses so much more than big playability. Are you a great blocker out of the backfield? Can you catch the ball out of the backfield? Can you pick up the blitz packages? Can you, can you run in between the tackles as well as outside of the tackles? And I think that Jeff Wilson Jr. can do it all. I'm interested to see why they opted into giving him a 1-year deal. Kind of like a prove it situation. I was telling Quan this earlier. I think that what happens is in this situation, if we get around week 8 and he's put up 600-700 yards already as a feature back, you'll see an extension come very, very fast.
What did I say after that point that you made? I said, in order for him to do that and be a featured back, y'all gonna have to get out of the complimentary. Let's play 3 running backs and give them all 10 carries. Like y'all gonna have to get away from that.
Honestly,
we did later.
That, I think they're getting past that at this point because they're starting to see that you need that consistency, you need that rhythm for what you're trying to accomplish. Look at Mike Shanahan. They didn't do by committee. Once they had that guy, they rolled with it. And I think that Kyle's been trying to find that in his running backs.
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. So I think that's cool. I know that we are getting ready to jump into Pro Bowl week. It's going to be vastly different as well as the Senior Bowl, as well as the offseason is in full swing. Senior Bowl practices are happening right now. I'm excited. Watch out for number 3 out of Clemson. That receiver, that senior, number 3 out of Clemson. I think his name is Rogers. Watch out for that kid. Yeah, go ahead on and write him down somewhere. I see him, a mid-round, third, fourth rounder. But watch out, see what happens right there with that kid. I think he got something special cooking over there. But this is Pro Bowl week. They're going to do it a lot differently this year. It's going to be a Pro Bowl week where something is happening every week. So tune into that stuff. Because there's no game, we'll be back with you guys Wednesday as we get ready to talk about the Super Bowl and give our predictions. It wouldn't make sense to give them now when we have a show next Wednesday. Before the Super Bowl. So it wouldn't make sense to give our predictions now. But let's keep the conversation going. Follow us on Twitter at The Field Level 1. Follow us on Instagram at The Field Level. And then follow the Facebook page, The Field Level. Go ahead and follow that. Get on. We're going to be talking. Talk to us. Like I say, talk to us. We talk back. Talk to us. We talk back. Let's have some really good discussion going forward into this next couple upcoming weeks and really begin to ponder on who you have for the Super Bowl. I got ace in the hole that I'm kind of thinking about. I know that as of right now, didn't Eric Fisher tore his Achilles last game, right? Left tackle.
He's not playing, but the other one might play.
But they might be down there starting left tackle and starting right tackle.
It's possible, yeah.
See what happens on that one. I'm Pat. That's Quan. That's CT. Any final words, my guys?
Nah, man, that's it, man. Just hit us on social media because we be having it popping. Like today was popping on Twitter. We had some laughs, had some people chime in. So make sure y'all hit us up, man. One love.
Hit us up, man. CT, anything?
All good. Shout out to Sadi, man. He been spitting historical facts all night on the
Sadi
chat.
Stay with the historical facts on the chat, bro. Sadi stay with it. Shout out to Ed too for being on with us tonight. Yes, hopping on and trying to do whatever he did, man.
Only how he could do it.
And Craig too. Shout out to Craig for jumping in.
Shout out to my guy, Craig. Craig, you got a haircut tomorrow at 11:30, man. Don't be late. Hey, it's The Field Level, man. Football podcast of the West Coast. Pat, Quan, CT, we out here. One love, baby.